Welcome back to another episode of Villain Review, and today's villain is Kevin Spacey. John Doe. John Doe. The villain is John Doe. John Doe is the main antagonist in the 1995 classic Seven, or Seven. Yeah. This movie was made by David Fincher and stars Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt. I just want to give a spoiler warning, and if you haven't seen Seven, don't just dismiss it because it's old. I highly recommend it. Shout out to Kane Richardson for suggesting John Doe in the comments. Comment below who I should review next. Let's get into it. So John Doe is definitely more of an enigmatic villain. We don't really know much about him, and we never really learn anything about him. John Doe isn't even his real name. It's just something that he gives himself. It's just some random name that he chooses to go by. I wonder why. But what we do know about John Doe is that he's religious. Very religious. He is a man who claims he was chosen by God to carry out violent crimes against those who commit the 7 deadly sins: gluttony, pride, sloth, wrath, lust, envy, and greed. There's nothing really fancy about John Doe's origins, but they're definitely believable. There are a bunch of crazy religious people out there who claim they're like the second coming of Jesus, or that they're called to do something crazy for God. John Doe feeling like he has to do this for God is definitely believable, and it makes sense for him to do it. So right off the bat, John Doe is very smart. He has this two-sided coin where you can see his intellect, but also that he's crazy. As Somerset notes in the film, John Doe isn't crazy in the insanity sense, just his interpretation of what God wants him to do. For example, most criminals would wear gloves to avoid fingerprints, but John Doe cuts off his fingertips. Yeah, that's crazy. He does this so that there will be absolutely no way that evidence can be linked to him at any of the scenes of the crime. This is a smart move on Doe's part, but it's equally crazy. We see later on in the film that he firmly believes what he's doing is right, and he can't see any fault in it. He's the kind of killer to have this well thought out plan, but he's also not scared to change it up. He believes in his own message so much, he's willing to die for it at the end of the film. That is the most dedicated you can be to your own plan, and shows the confidence he has in what he's doing being the right thing. I love this confidence in a villain. When you combine that with a killer who is smart and philosophical, you get one great character. Okay, yes, the box. I'll get there. First off, I want to talk about John Doe's presence in the film and how he's not really in it that much. His face isn't really revealed until almost an hour and a half into the movie. And as I've said in the past, presence is important, but this is how you do it right. John Doe lives as a character through this setting, and we always learn more about him, but we never even see him. We feel his presence throughout the whole movie, and it's impossible to forget about him. But his scene, of course, is the famous one at the end of the film with Brad Pitt. What's in the box?
What's in the box? What's in the fucking box?
You just told
You lied! You're a fucking lie!
This scene is one of the best endings in film history. I love this scene for many reasons. It's great for John Doe though, because it shows his confidence and intellect in full force. We see his cruelty in the form of Somerset opening the box and running back to Doe and Mills. We then get the reveal and Mills slowly realizing what's happening. And then John Doe wins. He gets shot and Mills becomes Wrath. It's such a good scene because we see John Doe change his plan on the fly. This wasn't the plan all along. There's no way it could have been. But it's just an audible that worked to perfection. We see everything about John and Mills perfectly displayed in one scene, and it's shot tremendously too. The acting is phenomenal, and it's one of the best scenes in the film, easily, and one of the best endings to a thriller of all time. This is tough, man, because John Doe seemingly has everything. He has believable motivation, he's a great character, and absolutely steals the show every time he's on scene. Yeah, I said his best scene was the box because it's iconic, but literally every other scene he's in is awesome, and I definitely watch them all the time on YouTube just because they're such great scenes. Yeah, if you nitpick at his plan, you could probably find something to hold him back, but as the great Abed once said,
Yeah, I guess I just like liking things.
John Doe gets the very first 10 on the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and it's actually funny that we got our first 10 after we got our first 1. Thanks again for watching, and tune in next week for another villain review.
What's in the box? What's in the fucking box?
It's my in a box.